we get to that.
Okay. Well, are you ready?
Yeah.
Call the downtown meeting to order for October 20th. Let's stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public participation. Sean Royst.
Just wanted to say I'm not one of those people that's impatient. I'm happy that we're taking our time with the downtown development and we're going to get it right. Thank you.
That's it?
That's it.
No, I appreciate that very much. Yeah, thank you. That's nice.
Can we put that in the minutes? That was a record.
I'm under 3 minutes most of the time now. Most of the time.
I want to use that quote for our Facebook and stuff.
Thanks, Sean.
Quote him.
It's good to hear.
Yes.
It's important. You can only do it once.
Right. Item number 3, acceptance of minutes for regular scheduled meeting for September 22nd.
So moved. Second.
Motion made second. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Communications. Downtown visionary survey results.
I'll just touch on this real quick. We had sent out a press release on Tuesday. We did receive the visioning survey back. In the press release, it did publicize that the Milona McBroom is going to do a presentation on this and look for BDA questions, comments, etc. at the Monday meeting. Their planners that handled the survey could not make it today. They had a seminar, but I thought it made sense actually to get them in front of the full board. I don't think they've come before the full board yet.
No.
So it's a good opportunity.
Are you planning to send the results out to the BDA?
Yeah, the packets are going out tomorrow morning. So these same results you'll get again. Well, you'll get it for the second time.
This is more like, Howard.
Yep, they'll get it in their packets tomorrow, and the results are up on the Center Square webpage as well.
Okay. Do we have to accept those? Or we're good? Motion to file? Motion to file the report. And second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. New business. Bristol Hospital update.
So, a couple of the Bristol Hospital reps are out of the area, so they're kind of in a little bit of a holding pattern as well. So I spoke with some of them. I'll give the update this month. I think that next month will be the heavy update for Bristol Hospital. But basically, where they stand, and you can chime in too, Mayor, but where the hospital stands is that they received, I think we talked about it last month, they received 7 RFP submissions from sort of very qualified developers for their project. They've narrowed that 7 down to 4, and that next week, Bristol Hospital, the board, and the other key stakeholders are going to be doing interviews to basically select a developer of the 4, as I understand it. So they should have a developer on board by late October, very early November. At that point, the city is going to get involved, get with that developer, go over some issues, some opportunities for us, and I'll bring that. That will be coming next month. You all can get sort of the rundown of how those discussions have gone and developers and all that good stuff.
So their goal is to have the developer selected by mid-November?
Yeah.
Great.
And the purchase and sale agreement, since we last met, was extended via a city council vote, I want to say a week ago or 2. Again, just to...
60 days? 60 days.
60 days, yep. And again, the purpose of that, we've done that before, the purpose of that is because the project is sort of still evolving, the developer's not on board yet, there's some other issues to deal with from the lawyer's perspective. Let's give ourselves time to do this right. I don't think it's necessary to rush this just to meet a deadline that we created for ourselves. So the idea is give us more time to work it through and make sure everything's correct, everybody's happy on each side. Anything to add to that?
Well, just that, just because you don't see anything happening across the street doesn't mean that there's not a lot going on. We have a lot of things going on behind the scenes, working through with the developer, with the hospital. We're working on the road, which you're going to talk about next.
Yeah, I will.
So we're moving right along, and the hospital's got this on the fast track.
And you're spot on the point. There is a lot going on. Unfortunately, people don't know. And there's only because, again, and it's certainly not for lack of effort, but it's, you know, people are like, there's nothing getting done. It's like, there's tons getting done.
There is. I mean, they really are, from the hospital, just to speak for them, they've done a ton of work in a short amount of time for an incredibly complex, I mean, truly complex, so many moving parts in that project. So I'm really happy with how far they've come. And,
It's you know, I think the minute a shovel gets in the ground, that's when people will start to notice, whether it's put a road in or even stakes to, like, you know, just some type of activity.
And it's going to happen. I mean, it's going to happen sooner than we think. All right. Just can I have a motion to file that report?
So moved.
Second. Motion made, second. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All approved.
yeah. Let me give that update. Tom is not here yet. I'll do as best I can, then we could always revisit.
Do you want to skip it?
Yeah, maybe just skip it, give ourselves a little extra time.
Any old business?
No, just it seems to be, the name seems to be catching on. I see people correct themselves and calling it, you know. And
I have none.
Are your positions posted coming down yet, or are they still open?
The BDA positions? They're down. They were down on Friday. So we're going through that process now, analyzing, hopefully interviewing soon. If I could bring up something on the older business side. Again, this is not something that I think everybody knows about these projects, but I think they bear repeating at this meeting particularly. I think sometimes we get caught up on the Center Square site, right? Because it is such a massive project, a lot of moving parts. But we're the downtown committee, so we should talk about downtown in general. Now, I said before at this group, with downtown in particular, we need to learn how to celebrate our little victories downtown, right? Because there's a lot, we don't always have victories, you know, in Bristol as a whole and downtown specifically. But let's talk a little bit real quick. Faneuil. So Faneuil, again, 200, 300 employees coming on board. I keep saying this, but if you drive down North Main Street these days, particularly during the afternoon hours, you feel a presence there. You really do. The mayor you were in line at Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, I mean, every morning this week I've been in line we were just talking about this with someone from Senator Murphy's office today, that this week I've been in line at Dunkin' Donuts where I normally am not in line, and I couldn't figure out why until it hit me. These are all the Faneuil people, McDonald's, Dunkin' Donuts.
Started.
Oh, they're working.
Training. Yeah,
They're going live in a week and a half.
Wow, that's great.
So, and George Carpenter took me upstairs to see the fourth floor, all the work they're doing over in the old Cigna building, now the Faneuil building. So they're moving right along, and they're still hiring. He said that Faneuil felt that they have really tapped out the Bristol market as far as employees, and they're moving on now. They're having another job fair. We put on my website when.
I want to say it's Saturday.
Yes.
Saturday.
Yes.
Saturday. Next 2 Saturdays, so they're really still hiring. They're up to, I want to say he said over 200 right now.
That's wild. You know, and again, you see it driving down North Main Street. Now, to tie into that, Supernatural. So I was there 2 days ago. I think you were there yesterday.
Yep.
So Supernatural is open officially today, I think.
Yep.
What a space. Unbelievable. Do we all know 224 North Main Street, the old the gym over there? Right across.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this. So right across, basically, from where Faneuil is. So what a nice dynamic there, right? Because frankly, in driving around, I do see the Faneuil employees sort of huddle around tables, and it's clear they need some places to go for lunch, right? And they probably have short breaks, need to, you know, run out, run back. What a great dynamic this could be, not just with Supernatural, but, you know, 457 up the street. But it just so happens that Supernatural is opening this week. Faneuil's close to opening. You see cars lined up parked in front of Supernatural now because you got to park in front. And it's just you're starting to get that dynamic and that play off of each other.
And let me say, Supernatural, we have nothing like that in Bristol. It is what they've done in that build-out is absolutely beautiful. It's
like a high-end cafeteria concept.
I compared it to, if any of you have been in ESPN's caf, a mini ESPN caf.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's beautiful. They did a great job.
Mayor, who owns that building?
They do. They bought it.
They bought the building?
Yeah.
Yeah.
From OBC.
So Biker's Edge, right? We haven't talked about this since the last time we met. So the Biker's Edge project is something that we were working on for quite some time. Kudos to Bob Dismaris and Biker's Edge. They were committed to coming back to their roots downtown. They believe in downtown Bristol. They want to get back here. We worked with Bob for months to a year, finding the right place downtown. We were close on things, it didn't work, and that's how development works, but he was just committed to coming downtown, and now you have a property, and I know we've all heard this already the last couple of weeks, but landmark property. Everyone in Bristol knows where that property is. Everyone in Bristol, frankly, knows Biker's Edge. It starts, again, to bring this legitimacy. Biker's Edge customers are going to go wherever they are, right? That's the type of company that's important. And Supernatural's the same kind of thing. Those companies with local name recognition, where folks just trust them, are going to go to them.
It's a great location. It's right off, you know.
Yeah.
Is he going to basically have the bike shop in what was the press room and then use the office space?
As I understand it, yeah. And we're working with him on other tenants, so there's a lot going on.
I was there the other day, the front of the building where the glass is, that's going to be his main, he's putting a door there, that's going to be his main entrance with a walkway in the front. And what's that street name? Church? School?
That's School Street.
School Street. But, you know, what's lost in a lot of these things is the backroom work that Justin does. We looked and helped Bob for a long time, to the point where both Justin and myself, Justin numerous times and myself, at least one time we're on the phone with the seller's agent of the building, trying to work the deal on the city side to help put the two together. And so, you know, Justin is hands-on in this stuff. I mean, we're really...
So did he buy the building?
He bought the building.
So,
You know, Mayor, what I was impressed with was, right after he closed, he had a crew out there cleaning
Oh,
it
yeah.
up.
Yeah, he's been...
He jumped right on
He's
that.
been really pushing hard, and November, she's planning on being there, the end of November.
Thanksgiving, yeah.
It's got an aggressive schedule.
O'Reilly's Auto Parts will be going into their existing building on Route 6. But again, these are these little victories that eventually they start to really create a culture here. The Thai restaurant is great across the street. The story about the Thai restaurant, I don't know if we talked about this last time, that I liked was when Skewers closed. Skewers was great. I mean, tremendous product. When they closed, we got a lot of folks were contacting us, or we were hearing about comments about, here we go again, downtown restaurant can't make it or whatever. In reality, Skewers was doing quite well. I talked with the owners. They frankly were just not interested in being in that business anymore, in the restaurant industry. And very quickly, they found a suitor for the space. So, and it's doing well, and it great food, by the way.
Now,
So,
they have a sister restaurant, is it?
I think I want to say Cheshire.
Cheshire.
Yeah. But they saw the opportunity here. So great story for downtown. And then we're continuing to work deals for Downtown Cafe and other spaces. I just got a nice lead for Downtown Cafe today, so it's not just about the 15 acres.
You have Downtown Cafe is a good place, especially, and then the old Barley Vine.
Yep, and that's out there too. So we're busy downtown, not just on the 15 acres, sort of everywhere. And I don't want to lose sight of that when we meet together.
And since it is downtown, any more word on what was the old bank building, the high-rise?
Oh yeah.
10 Main?
10 Main, thank you.
There's good news coming for that.
Okay,
That's where we're
Great
at.
news coming.
Yeah.
Through the chair, I hate to throw you under the bus, but
That's okay.
how do you pronounce that Thai restaurant's name?
How dare you ask
Thai
me
restaurant.
The Thai restaurant.
Stop it.
You
I think it's
The Thai restaurant.
Sabadi.
Sabadi? Is that how you say it?
Dawn
Sabadi?
Nods. I'm going to take Dawn's
you're the
direction.
program,
Yeah.
Sabadi?
I would just go by the Thai restaurant.
Yeah, that's all.
But
I know my son's eaten there numerous times.
the smell, like,
Yeah, it's
it's
torturous.
it comes in our windows and.
We should get free food.
And Thai is a big food. I mean, everybody wants Thai. It's good.
So let's go back to more on the phone.
Yes.
You ready to give your update?
Yes, sorry.
Not a
That's
problem.
okay, Tom.
So in terms of update, we are continuing to kind of button up some things. The public outreach is generally completed, and we've done that. I believe it's been updated, or has it been uploaded?
The visioning results.
The visioning, yeah.
We hit on that, yep.
Yeah, and one of the reasons we're not kind of dealing with it today is my entire planning staff is up at a conference up in Boston right now, so they're not available, but we would anticipate maybe Justin at the next meeting.
Actually, they're going to be at our Monday meeting with the BDA on this Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where we are. In addition to that, obviously, we're working closely with Walt on the next phase of, I don't know if Justin, you want to talk about that separately, or?
No, it's fine. I mean, Malone McBroom, if we haven't already, we're close to executing the contract with Malone McBroom to now do some of the nitty-gritty design engineering work on, and maybe Walt or Tom, you could speak to the specifics on
So
that.
it's the internal road, taking that project all the way through for bid documents, actually all the way through construction, soup to nuts on that. In addition to that, once we looked at the road, even internally we said, oh boy, there's a traffic signal there. I sent it to my traffic engineers. They said, that thing's old and tired. And my understanding with traffic signals is once you touch one thing, you basically buy it. So we actually have a proposal to redo the traffic signal out here, which I think Bristol Hospital would be pretty happy about, making sure that works very well. And in addition to that is the streetscape, all the way along the frontage. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to conceptually design it all the way along the frontage and work with the city to kind of have a nice visioning document there, and also have a cost estimate so you know what you're looking at for construction costs. But we can't really do the whole streetscape because we don't know what the other spaces are going to be. But so Walt's approach is, we know what the Bristol Hospital, we know what Main Street, and we know what Riverside is, and that's already complemented on the other side of the road, so we're going to really clean up that. So that'll be entire construction documents all the way on Main Street and Riverside around the corner, and then we'll just have a conceptual design so when developers come in, they'll know what the expectations are about the streetscape as it goes down towards McDonald's. So in terms of that, you're really doing that. I know with the mayor's interest is to get going on this very quickly. So we're actually, the goal is to have basically, I think, bid documents out late winter, early spring. We're going to hit the bidding time perfect because that's when contractors are looking for work. And you could see shovels in the ground, late spring. That's really exciting.
Yeah, and just to jump on that, we're working with Dawn, and Tom's working with us and Dawn on a potential grant opportunity to hopefully help offset some of the costs for the construction work for the initial streetscape roadway stuff. That's a federal EDA grant. Dawn and I spoke with EDA, and they sort of understood the project and encouraged us to apply. I think that's fair to say.
Yep.
And then today even, we met with a key member of Senator Murphy's staff in Hartford. They came to us, but from Hartford, to discuss that grant opportunity and others, and just to make, the mayor's done a lot of this, but to make our federal folks, our state delegation, everyone, aware of the project, and to make us aware of any opportunities that pop up. He was very supportive of the grant application as well. So those types of, I think, meetings are pretty valuable.
Let me just add, like I said before, we have a lot of stuff happening right now, and it's happening pretty quick. And I have to give compliments to Tom and his team with Malone McBroom. They're always great to work with, and Tom is, whenever we pick up the phone, he's there, and whenever we need him. So we appreciate that, and putting this on the fast track. And I'm looking forward to seeing that road going in early spring.
It's true. Just to give, again, Tom and his team, and your subs, Desmond, has been so valuable. It's not necessarily just our engineering work and planning work. It's just a lot of questions that pop up, thoughts, concerns in our work with potential new developments on the site, and certainly working with Bristol Hospital. And it's just wonderful to have Tom and his staff there and your subs.
Well, we appreciate the interaction with the city. It's been a wonderful process, but we also understand you guys, you can't wait a week for an answer. Justin's emailing me after hours, say, we haven't talked, but I need this answer. We understand that the momentum is there, and we can't be the one holding it up. So, Justin's been great to communicate with, so we've enjoyed it, and it's been great. Now, that being said, so you're going to get a visioning or a public outreach kind of discussion at your next meeting, but at some point, we need to kind of wrap this project up. One of the parts is we're still waiting for Bristol Hospital to a little bit to kind of, my understanding is they're moving forward, but we're hoping to get some answers in the next, next 3 to 4 weeks, I think.
Yeah, we had talked about that, but we are, and I think these meetings start to get more intensive when that happens, and that's a good thing. And Tom will be there, to help us through that stuff.
So, as much as I think we're all almost ready to put the final document, but Bristol Hospital is such an important part of this overall development, we also don't want to do any missteps and be out of line of them. So they're moving along quickly, and then I think the two of us will come together to kind of put the whole, project on them.
And then just one last thing, there will be public meeting around the release of that, the final plan, obviously. So the public will have a chance to get to see it, weigh in, the whole deal. So, it'll be like, maybe we'll call it a special downtown committee meeting or something, but we'll figure it out.
That's a great idea.
Through the chair, when you say final plan, you mean the roadway design plan and hospital layout of the lot, or all of the development?
It's really the study. So we'll have to finalize the visioning. We owe you parking analysis. I think we owe you a pretty picture in terms of what the community told us they wanted on that site. And then we owe you some, the final market study. So that's really, when I say close it out, it's more about moving from the planning portion of it to actually bricks and mortar.
Now, refresh my memory, though. Does that include a schematic, let's say, of the remaining portion of the lot and how the lot layouts would be configured?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. In a very high level, though. I mean, obviously, we can't predict where the developers come in, but a very high level in terms of blocking out parts. And it's also a map that Justin, when people come into City Hall and say, what do you guys got? I want to be downtown. Well, here we go,
Weren't we talking about having it laid out in a way that's flexible so that if we need a bigger part, we can combine parcels?
Well, that's why the part over here by McDonald's, it will have, and Tom, correct me, it'll have a conceptual what it'll look like, but we're not going to actually put that road in at this point because the developer may come in and change it. We're going to do this other part. Is that a fair statement?
Yes. I mean, it's going to be very, luckily you have, you may be in a position where we're only talking about a remaining portion of it, but part of the proposal I gave to Walt is we will do a full boundary survey, an updated either lot line revision or subdivision map. So Justin actually has parcels now to do marketing. So that was an element that, while it's not just road construction, there's some other elements in there in Walt's proposal that will assist you going forward.
And we are working with another developer, but we kind of have him on hold, waiting for the hospital boundary lines. Once we have those boundary lines and we know where the road is going, then we could wrap up the other one.
Makes sense.
So then we're really looking at this other 5 acres?
Yeah, it's kind of a good problem to have, because the way we're going about development is a little different than sort of the traditional model, right? Where it's almost more traditional model is the way we do the Southeast Bristol Business Park now. We've got the property, it's pretty much established, roadways there, and we have a product, which is the land and all the other opportunities we offer in Bristol, and we sell it. In this case, it's kind of like the chicken before the egg a little bit, and we have a product, but it's not quite defined yet, and that's where we'll be when we'll be a lot closer than where we are now.
And it's very different than most planning studies. Most planning studies, you do a nice planning study, it kind of sits on a shelf, and it may just collect dust or never happen. I mean, there's a lot of plannings. This is a totally different dynamic, and it's exciting to move from. I mean, essentially, we haven't even finished the planning study, and we're already talking about putting infrastructure because there's so good momentum. That's pretty exciting.
And I mean, kudos to you, because it's not traditional. I mean, I heard it when we had this idea initially. One of my points of interest, we'll say, was that this not be a situation where we work with a Malone and McBroom, and we sort of have to sit on our hands for 6 months to a year. If the opportunity presented itself, we'd like to engage developers, and it's a non-traditional, but thank you for being flexible that way.
Are we contemplating the land use boards, when we get the configuration, are we going to wait until we find more, what developer needs are?
Talk about another subdivision?
I can,
Go ahead.
well, right now, you have an approved subdivision, and the way things stand, we can redefine the lot lines to stay within that subdivision approval
For hospital site, right?
for the hospital site, and it configures itself to lay out for what they're working on for the second developer, and it leaves the third parcel there, and Tom will have the conceptual, and then it allows the canvas that if somebody comes in, then you can do the next subdivision when you have something definite.
So we'll wait.
So you can move fairly quickly with that, but it doesn't make sense to draw the lines right now.
And so the whatever road or everything you put in, will that be, I'll call it a soft road, it won't, or will it be?
It'll be an internal road that will service the Bristol Hospital site in the second, but it'll provide the access to the other to meet whatever upcoming demands are there.
That makes sense.
And just a point that struck me when you were talking is we talk about providing this canvas, well, I think you said, but so it's obviously very handy to have that when we approach developers about the downtown site, but it's also necessary when we do a lot of our advertising for the site, which hasn't really occurred yet. We're working on a lot of person-to-person sort of marketing of the site, but once we have that schematic, then we can start to really promote a little differently in a way that we haven't. So it's key for that too.
Anything else? Any other business? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Motion made second. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passed.